This championship banner is for each Blue Bomber fan in this stadium, Manitoba, and across this country. I ask you to turn your attention to the south end, and let's unveil this banner, and then let's play some football.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome head coach Orlando Steinauer and the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Because they're going to need him to do that too.
Delayed draw for Oliveira. Humping those legs now. First down for the Winnipeg Kid.
See that right between the 1 and the 6.
The Canadian quarterback in the CFL is a rarity. We're seeing one work right now. Looking into the end zone. Touchdown. Burnham.
Okay, I stand corrected. There's his best throw in this young career.
Wow.
He put it out there for Burnham to go get it, and he did. Why not in game 1 for Brian Burnham to add to the highlight pack? And he's got a long one. That's a full feature film. But I love the poise from Nathan Rourke on the sideline through most of this second half. Steps on, throws a strike in the curl to get the first down, and then drops it over the shoulder.
Crowd picks up the noise on 2nd and 10. Wide open Curly Gittens Jr. And a big touchdown for the Argonauts. Biggest catch of the young career of Gittens, who had 1 for 10 yards in 2019 and a couple tonight. There's the big one. A touchdown that could tie the game.
Taking advantage. This is what you've got to do. Watch the free safety, Royce Metchie. He's coming on the blitz. He's going to creep up towards the line of scrimmage. We're getting man coverage. The middle of the field's open. Slot, what are you going to do? Take the hole, get to the middle. Curly Gittens knows it. No help over the top.
Needs the end zone for the win. Harris in trouble. Dumps it off underneath. Tuck trying to push towards the end zone, and he comes up just short. My goodness, what a finish in Commonwealth. The Red Blacks are going to hang on.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Hey, there we go. What is up, my friends, and welcome to a fabulous edition. Welcome, friends from Canada and the United States of America. This is Mark Perry, editor of CFL News Hub. Welcome to another episode of the CFL News Hub show, a weekly recap of the Canadian Football League. Yes, we were delayed an hour, and then now the microphone didn't work. It seems to be working now. Let me know in the chat room if you can hear me okay. I had everything in order. Had everything going. I had an hour to the show. I got a brand new PC. did a show on Monday, did something with Dropbox, did something to my files where none of the files were loading, and I was just letting it try to sync, and maybe I thought that would bring it back, and technical issues. And an hour later, we are back live on the YouTube and Facebook, ready to talk some CFL football. I'm still a little because of stupid computer stuff, but hey, God's good. Life is good. You know, we got to be thankful, and I'm just thankful, and it's a learning experience. Keep that in mind. It's a learning experience. All right, if you want to be part of the show, email info@cflnewshub.com with your MP3s or videos or your just thoughts. That's as simple as that. On this week's show, we got week 1 is in the books, and we're ready for week 2. We'll run through my picks, what happened last week, fantasy, the latest news, TV ratings, and so much more. Also, you can now download via MP3 a podcast. Right now, we're on Google. If you have a Google device, you can get the podcast on there. We're coming to Apple and all that other stuff, and we'll announce that when it comes out. It just takes a while to sync all that stuff up. Also this week, Markcast is going to be live either before or after Thursday night's games. We'll get into those, so you can check that out. A lot of people enjoyed their live show. I was on there for a little bit. It was a lot of fun interacting with CFL fans. So that's coming this Thursday. It's either before or after the game. That sure they'll announce that on Twitter, and we'll put that out on social media as well. You'll get my reactions to week 1 games. My rankings, we'll see how I did. I didn't do very good, but I'll tell you this was the first week that I sat down and watched CFL games. Now, the funny thing is it was for all of us at XFL News Hub. Some of those guys came over. We have some new people working on us that are with us that are CFL fans, so it was our chance. Some guys had experience watching the CFL. I just watched a couple of, replays on ESPN+. It was the first time I've got to sit down and watch some CFL football. And I said this, and I go into way more detail on the other podcasts on XFL News Hub. If I were to choose which games I could pay money to see, I still am a fan of the rules of the XFL. However, my second choice would be the CFL, and then my third choice would be NFL college football. And the reason why I enjoyed the CFL games this week, and I enjoyed the XFL games too, is the pace of play. Because every time I'd kind of look down at my phone, next thing I know that it was, then it was 2 and out, and then they were punting. And this is just my first weekend in it, and, those are going to be 6 weeks into it, 7 weeks into it, all the way to the Grey Cup, to see if my things changed. My only critique, at least in the initial part, and one of the guys that's on the staff brought it up, that there was a lot of punts. The only thing I would change, and this might upset some people, everything is fine. It's the 3-down piece, because I want to see my guys on the field more. And it's like 2 and out is it's not enough for me. I want to see some more guys on the field. That was but I also, with some of the games I was watching, there was really no action going on. It was basically everybody was 2 and out. And it's also the first game of the season, for all these players, and it's the first game in, quite some time, over a year. So I get all that, but at least the one thing I enjoyed that I liked about the XFL and the CFL game is the pace. I like the pace. I like the wide open field. I like the game. I like the players. I'm all in, and I would rather pay money to see a CFL game way over than the slow, clunky, grinding very slowly NFL, like action, go to sleep, action, go to sleep. Where the CFL is like, you can't put your phone down. I mean, if you start looking at your phone, you're going to miss a lot. My only thing, again, was the 3 downs, just because I wanted to see my guys on the field an extra down to see if they can make something happen. But then at the same time, on the flip side, you have 2 other, the other side goes on and they're out quick, and then you guys are back on. And then and the field is bigger. That was just kind of my initial reaction, but it was a lot of fun. I totally enjoyed it. And I'm all in, man. I'm all in with the CFL. Now, my picks weren't that great, But again, it was the new season. Nobody's picks was that great. Well, we have to give that up. But we'll get into some news. We'll get into my picks from last week and this week, all the fantasy stuff. We have TV ratings from Mike Mitchell, got a hold of from ESPN. All those TV ratings, those are always interesting to look at. So we'll get into that. So without further ado, let's get into some CFL news, shall we? Okay. All right, first up, we have, hold on a second. We're still having some technical issues here. What is the live stream? The live stream is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Is it buffering a little bit? What do you guys think? Usually I got pretty good... stream was healthy at first, and now it says it's poor. It's 30 frames per second. I'm not getting any drop frames. All right, we'll just continue. Let me know if it's clunky or if the stream, YouTube is telling me the stream is a little messed up. But it seems to be running okay. Well, let's just continue. Maybe it's the service that we're using as well. All right, on to the news. All right, so the CFL's top performers of week 1, we have Abdul Kenneth. He's the DB from the Ottawa Redblacks. That was a big one. Ottawa Redblacks played a vital role in the team's 16-12 stunning victory over the Edmonton Elks. And I will tell you this, I was on the board of a lot of people, and granted, it's not just me, saying that I thought the Ottawa Redblacks were going to be the last team to win a game. And I thought the Elks were going to light people up, and both of them surprised me this past week. He was the player of the week. Avery Williams also on Ottawa Redblacks. So we're going to have to watch out for the Ottawa Redblacks. Williams led all players in week 1, wrapping up 14 tackles, a career high. It also marked his 3rd career game with 10-plus tackles in the CFL, former Temple Owl. And Baltimore, Maryland native, I just want to point out, I'm a Ravens fan, and I even have Ray Lewis picture over here. You can't see it. So he played a great game. And, of course, the guy that I should have picked didn't. At the last minute, I knew this. I took the Bombers' other running back. I didn't take Bradley Oliveira. I thought I had updated it after the show. One of the guys in the chat mentioned his name, and I went back. I thought I pressed save, and I didn't, and that's why I lost money. Of course, he had a great night. Blue Bombers with the 19-6 win over the Tiger Cats, my Tiger Cats. He rushed the ball 22 times for 126. North Dakota product had a reception for 21 yards as well. Fantastic game from him. Here's the breakdowns. Basically, Kenneth got all first place votes, then Avery Williams, and then Bradley Oliveira. They didn't ask me for that, but they shouldn't ask me for that. So there are your top performers for week 1. In the fantasy side of things, our man Rod Villagomez, he will have his fantasy picks coming out tomorrow. So stay tuned for that on CFL News Hub. But for some guys, McLeod Bethel Thompson lighting it up with the Argos. I had picked the Argos to win. Yeah, I did, especially with him at QB. He did great, 26 of 37, 254 yards, 2 TDs. Fantastic. He replaced former Calgary quarterback Nick Arbuckle, who was unable to play due to a hamstring injury. I think he is also going to be playing this week, and he might have to pick that guy. Ricky Collins Jr. did well, too. Lucky Whitehead of the BC Lions, 5 catches for 136 with the arm of Nathan Rourke. Then the whole Michael Riley coming in. And I was watching that game, and I was like, where's this Michael Riley? Isn't he like the guy? And then they said that he was going to start. And then, but Brian Burnham did well, too. That was a whole shock. And then he came in later. And then that was that whole thing. And I know people were pissed off about the injury thing. And what I was hearing was just before the game, it was kind of a no-go. So we'll see what happens with him. But BC Lions are high on Nathan Rourke. I mean, a little sketchy his first go out, but still wound up doing not too bad. James Wilder Jr., Edmonton Elks, 15 carries, 89 yards, 9 receptions for 72 yards. Fantastic game from him as well. And the Red Blacks defense, they got 12 points, 3 interceptions, 3 sacks. Defensive. I mean, are the Red Blacks the legit team, or just is the Edmonton Elks not very good? We'll have to find out in week 2. And on to, we had our power rankings. Matt Lyons was out there putting the power rankings. He's got the number 1 Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Of course, they looked legit. Everybody's pick of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Everybody thought that they would be the winner. I picked the Tiger Cats. I did pick them. And you know why I picked them? Because it was a straight homer pick. It was a straight homer pick, even though I felt like, the Blue Bombers having their banner unveiled, the crowd was hyped. 30,000, I believe. I made the homer pick because I thought that Hamilton would light them up. We'll see what happens this week. Could we have a quarterback controversy going in with my Tiger Cats? Argonauts number 2 in his power rankings. They look good. Tiger Cats, I mean, everybody's picked them to be number 1, so they can't fall off the schneid so much just yet, but that could be something. Saskatchewan Roughriders. They started with a 31-0 lead at halftime versus the BC Lions. They looked great in the beginning, but then the final score would be 33-29. But they still, Cody Fajardo looked great in the first half. Montreal Alouettes, they haven't played yet. They seem to have a good team. Threw them in there. Edmonton Elks, very questionable with the Edmonton Elks right now because they lost to, but they still were supposed to be better. Stampeders at 7. He had Stampeders down there. I'm not sure about this Calgary Stampeders. I think the Argos are a good team this year, and that was why I think the Stamps will kind of sit in the middle as far as the league goes. And they had the BC Lions at 8 because, they played well, but the questions at quarterback. And then Ottawa Red Blacks, even though they won and they beat the Elks, we just don't know what the deal is with the Red Blacks. Are they going to be, was this just kind of a fluke? I mean, it was one play. It was one play before the game they could have lost. And it was just right, we played that highlight at the beginning of the show. And let's see here. Oh, everybody's saying, I don't know why, looking at the chat room, everybody's saying it's fine here. Everything's working good. So, okay, cool. We'll keep going. Just checking in. But yeah, so I get it. Some people were like, no, what are you talking about? Why are the Red Blacks last? They just won the game, dumb idiots, blah, blah, blah. We'll see. Week 2, this is just week 1. And it was fun. I mean, did you guys have fun? I mean, this is what it's all about. This was so much fun about football and about covering it. I'm all in. I'm all in with the CFL. I had people that had never heard of the CFL watching games. I had people asking me about the games. A lot of people that I talked to this week, which makes, despite what you think about what the XFL, CFL, and us maybe be from America, even though some of our staff is from Canada, and more is coming on board, is that we brought in a new batch of people interested in the league. And if we can keep them interested, hopefully they'll stick around after the NFL season starts. Now let's get into some of the ratings news this past week. Our own Mike Mitchell was able to lock some stuff down. After nearly 2 years hiatus, the CFL returned Thursday night. We all know Hamilton Tiger Cats lost. Yeah, we all know that. And barely scored. They look so good off the bat. I was like, yeah, my team is the best. We're going to light you suckers up. And yeah, we all know that. Week 1 of the new CFL season concluded with Ottawa Red Blacks defeating the Edmonton Elks 16-12 Saturday night on ESPN2. Got a good slot, being on ESPN. So, CFL on ESPN2 TV Ratings Week 1 per Nielsen. The TV ratings for the Thursday night, Wednesday, ESPN 8:30 p.m. broadcast they drew 61,000 viewers. The game registered a 0.02 rating in the key demo. It ranked 173rd third in cable. We'll see how they do this week. The CFL's reach number for Thursday's game was 846,000. The figure is the amount of viewers who sample the product for at least 2 minutes. So a lot of people checked out. They saw it was football. They saw it was the CFL. They potentially turned. We saw definitely an uptick of traffic, not XFL level traffic, or when there's a pay-per-view, or if Dogecoin is hitting big, those type of things where we see that traffic. But again, I think this is a slow build, and there's a whole country interested in the CFL versus the United States. Saturdays nights, 10 p.m. broadcast on Espn2 between the Elks and Red Blacks registered 174,000 viewers, way up. That game scored a 0.5 in the key demo, and it was 82nd on Saturday among cable night shows. The reach number for Saturday night was 1.4 million number of fans who sampled the game for at least 2 minutes. The CFL on Tsn Tv Ratings had, of course, Thursday had over 680,000. Friday had 760,000. Saturday games even went down in the CFL with 300,000 and 340,000. So the total week average was 526,000. Now, Mike Mitchell points out that the numbers were down, but they had competition against the league was up overall from their opening week in 2019, but it was facing stiff competition against the Olympics on opening night, which is tough. In 2019, the CFL's opening week on TSN averaged roughly 400,000 viewers. So it was an overall increase of 30% on TSN, which is good. Regardless of the rating, TV ratings in Canada, the quality of play is solid, of course, and the on-field product will improve. On the American side of things, you'd like to see better numbers, but ESPN aspect is an added bonus for the CFL. It gives the opportunity for people outside of Canada to get exposed to the fan fun, which is the Canadian Football League. Last week, it was announced as part of a multi-year agreement. We have all that stuff we talked about that last week. Since 2014, in the United States, CFL has been exclusive to ESPN. In past years, the Canadian League has aired on the NFL Network and on MSNBC Sports deal. And those networks, CFL barely reached 6-digit average viewership per telecast. As a secondary source of viewership outside of Canada, TV ratings for the CFL in America have fluctuated over the years. In 2018, the CFL averaged 163,000 viewers per game on the ESPN channels, a modest total. Many of the CFL games in the States go up against NFL competition head-to-head. Of course, like last Thursday, and this one, I didn't even realize that. I mean, I was all in with the CFL and didn't even pay attention to the fact that the NFL actually had the Hall of Fame game going on. So the Hall of Fame game between the Cowboys and Steelers drew 7.3 million viewers on Fox, the highest viewership total for an NFL preseason game since 2017. That could be a potential issue as to why the ratings weren't down. We'll see what happens this week when it comes to the TV ratings in the CFL. Some other news this week. This was kind of interesting and gained some steam. American players can gain national status if they meet certain requirements. Now, during the 2019 negotiations of the collective bargaining agreement, a rule was added to be used starting in the 2020 season had it not been lost for the pandemic. American players who have either been in are on the same team for 3 years or in the league for 4 can be considered a national for certain situations, including substituting for an injured national player. In the newest CBA Article 14.02 in the subsection where it mentions amendments states the following players shall be classified as national: Canadian citizens at the time of signing the first contract or practice agreement, classified as a national prior to 2019, a player who has physically resided in Canada for an aggregate period of 5 years prior to attaining the age of 18 years, an American or global player who is draft eligible no earlier than the 2021 draft and has played football for a minimum of 3 years at a youth sports institution and has graduated with a degree in that institution. And then the new addition. In addition to the 2019 amendment above, the following will take effect before blah, blah, blah. An American player on a roster with the same CFL team after 3 consecutive years or 4 years in the CFL. These players apply only to the starter ratio and not the roster allocation. It's a little different thing. And while this rule was part of the 2019 negotiation, it was brought up recently by Dave Naylor. He said what many around the CFL are talking about, but is getting very little attention. A rule this year allows teams to replace a Canadian player injured in a game with an American. Yes, you read it right. I'll have lots to say on this on my column. They added another tweet that this can take place multiple times and at the same time if multiple players are injured on the same play. Winnipeg Sun journalist Paul Friesen wrote about the rule before the 2019 season and was able to speak to Blue Bomber player rep long snapper Chad Rempel. He said, quote, one of the mandates was to protect current members' jobs, so we were able to successfully do that because Canadian content is obviously very important to our fan base and our members, but our American jobs are equally as important, so how can we create more value for them, which is cool. So the rule also states that teams are allowed to carry 3 American players on their active roster who fits the requirement and still adhere to the ratio. According to Friesen, this means that 10 non-imports can be starters as long as the 3 extra Americans meet the requirements. These players can also be backups and substitute for injured Canadian starters, where previously if a national player went down, they had to be replaced with a Canadian player. So it provides more depth, and when there is injury, you're not required to just replace a Canadian with a Canadian. It could be basically anybody, so the quality of play should go up. You're not handcuffing GMs, Rempel said. Obviously, it begs the question about the possibility of taking advantage of this rule, and of course, it's a worry. That's obviously not the intent. We're continuing to work with the language around it to make sure it's not abused, and this isn't coming into effect until, well, now. So we'll have some time to make sure everyone's on the same page. We'll see how this rule actually takes shape during this season. This was just something to kind of keep an eye on as teams could try to not manipulate, but use the system a little bit to their advantage, help themselves with some players, and, with some depth about adding some more players. I know that the ratio rule is a big deal to some CFL fans, and I understand it, which was something that I had thought of during the game, actually, and I didn't even bring up, and I can bring it up now. Because we had that global kicker from Japan who kicked that field goal, and I thought that was fantastic, and I was like, this is so cool. And I had posted this on Twitter, that if you are in favor of the ratio rule in the Canadian Football League, then you have to be in favor of the Global Player Initiative, unless you're a homer or whatever, you know what I mean? You're essentially a hypocrite. Which made me think that I'm in favor of the global initiative, so therefore I can't be against the ratio rule, because both rules are about giving people opportunity to play in the CFL that might not be able to. So it's just something to think about, and I know many people have poo-pooed, and even some in the CFL media has mocked the global initiative and, being a waste of time and all this other stuff, but I mean, if you're in favor of the ratio rule, then you shouldn't mock the global rule either, because both rules in the crux of their existence is all about giving players opportunities. And really, so you're saying that it's okay to give opportunities to only Canadian players, but not global players, for example. I understand the American side of things just because, if that was the case in the CFL, it could be flooded with American players and very little Canadian players. And that's one of the reasons why people like the Canadian Football League, is because it's got to have CFL players. But the global initiative at the same time is essentially the same rule, saying that, you need to give people opportunity. And if you're in favor of one, you got to be in favor of both, in my opinion, as I was kind of watching the games. Let me know what you think in the chat room on Facebook and on the Twitter or on YouTube as well. Let me know what you think about all that fun stuff. All right, now that we've gotten past all that news, let's get into some Week 2 action, shall we? All right, ready for some Week 2 action. First up this week is Week 2 in the CFL season. We got some games coming up. Week 2 begins in Calgary. Actually, I can just pop this up. Week 2 begins in Calgary on Thursday night when the BC Lions roll into town with kickoff set at 9:30 p.m. All of these are Eastern. Both teams are looking for their first win of the new season after losing their respective Week 1 openers by a combined 7 points. You'll get my picks here in a second. McMahon will be hosting a contingent of Canadian Olympians from the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games who will be celebrated in the pregame ceremony. Cool. The Stampeders will also be honoring Canadian Football Hall of Fame inductees from the 2020 and 2021 class that have ties with the organization through a video tribute, which is nice. Friday Night Football takes the field to IG Field where the defending champions Winnipeg Blue Bombers will take on the Toronto Argonauts. Ooh, I am interested in this one. We'll get into that in a second. IG Field has been a fortress for the Blue Bombers of late, winning 12 of their last 13 games at home, including last week's 19-6 win over the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Toronto was able to pick up a rare victory in Calgary in Week 1 and will be looking for their first 2-0 start since 2015. Kickoff 8:30. That game, out of all of them, I mean, I'm looking forward to all of them for many reasons, but that one I think is the matchup of the week. I'm very interested to see how that goes. Saturday night features doubleheader at 7. The Montreal Alouettes kick off their season when they travel to the Edmonton Elks. Kerry Jones will lead the Alouettes in his second season as coach, and the team welcomes back William Stanback. Longtime Edmonton player Armando Sewell will play against his former team after 9 seasons with the Green and Gold. The Elks are looking for their first win of the season after they fell short of a victory on Week 1 and will look to avoid losing their first 2 home opener games of the year. Ow. Remember, Reed has jumped ship from Markcast from the Edmonton Elks. Basically, kind of like stuff that's been going on with their players. I was all for Jamie Elizondo, former XFL guy, but now I'm kind of like, Edmonton's kind of my least favorite team, so I would love for Montreal to go in and beat Edmonton. Sorry, Elks fans, I like the Elk thing going, but I'm just kind of, To conclude Week 2, the Hamilton Tiger Cats will play under the lights at the Saskatchewan Roughriders at 10 p.m. Not feeling very good about that for my Hamilton Tiger Cats. Saskatchewan had a great opening half in their season opener, then hung on to defeat the BC Lions. Hamilton will be looking for their first victory not only of the season, but also at new Mosaic Stadium. Lots of stats and all that kind of good stuff. So that's what's coming this week. Now, we need to get in what happened last week real quick before we get into my picks. What's up in the chat room, by the way? I just want to say hello to my friends in the chat. They say we can hear you. Oh, stream is healthy now. Oh, that's good. He says, John says Lions visit McMahon Stadium tomorrow. Go Stamps. He also says 3-down football equals do something with the ball offense or get off the field. Very true. John is making a great point on that. Kay says if you add an extra down, then you slow down the pace of play. Should the BC Lions get fined for their manipulation of the injury report? I don't know about that. We will see about that situation, Kay. But, I mean, you guys are making a great point, and this is just why I've been saying that this is something new to me, and I knew that there was other aspects to it. So, anyways, my picks last week, not very good. Hamilton Tiger Cats. I mean, that was a homer pick, Hamilton Tiger Cats. They only scored 6 points, and Winnipeg scored 19. So I got that one wrong. Okay, so there's one wrong for Mr. Mark there. So I got one right and one wrong. Well, I'm going to get the scores, but I'm just talking about the game. So I got one wrong. Then we had the BC Lions versus Saskatchewan. I had Saskatchewan 28, BC 20. I had Saskatchewan 33. Oh, I'm sorry. I had Saskatchewan 28, BC Lions 12. That was more of a shootout, but I did pick it right. I had Saskatchewan beating BC Lions. I just didn't think they were going to put up any points, but they did. So that's something we've got to keep in mind. Toronto Argonauts 23-20 over Calgary. I had 28-14. So I got another one right. So that's 2 right. And then everybody picked Edmonton to beat Ottawa, and Ottawa took it 16-12. I had at least my points were kind of close with Edmonton at 16. So I'm break even. I was 2-2 for the picking games. I never do the score over under stuff, just to be clear there. So for this week, what's going on with the schedule? So we got BC Lions at Calgary, Toronto, Winnipeg. That's my game of the week for me. Montreal, Edmonton, still interested in that one. And, of course, my Hamilton Tiger Cats against Saskatchewan. This could be very bad for my Hamilton going 0-2. I'm a little concerned with that. Okay, so first game, BC Lions at Calgary Stampeders. Let me know in the chat and on the Facebook who do you guys think? Here's what I'm going with. I think Calgary is going to take it. 14-20 over the BC Lions. BC Lions didn't score. I mean, they scored a lot of points. I think Calgary gets back into it. I think that will make some people in the chat room happy. I'm going with Calgary in that one. Let's see here. Going to game 2. Toronto versus Winnipeg. Blue Bomber fans, you better watch out. My dark horse, Toronto Argonauts, 28-24. Winnipeg. I would definitely start Oliveira. Let me know in the chat. I think he's set to play again. Toronto's got a good front line. I mean, they got Sean Oakman. He was out there. Charles Hughes, right? That's his name. He was out there too. You're going to freak out because I don't know these guys' name off the top of my head. I'll get there. Don't worry. Charleston Hughes, right? And he's a good player. Older, but a good player. I think Toronto shocks him. We'll see what happens there. Game 3, Montreal Alouettes versus Edmonton. Montreal coming in, taking care of business. Edmonton still struggling. 18-10 is your score there. I picked that one. And finally, game 4, Hamilton Tiger Cats versus Saskatchewan Roughriders. Who do you think I'm going to pick? Who are you going to pick? Let us know in the chat and on the comments. I'm not feeling Hamilton. Rough Riders, Cody Fajardo, 24. My Hamilton Tiger Cats, 12. Yeah, it's true. It's true. I'm a little worried. I think Hamilton's going to go down again, and then we're going to have a little bit of quarterback controversy going in for the Tiger Cats. I mean, what do you guys think? Let me know. So here's a recap of who I'm going to pick. Write it down. Bet the house, whatever you need to do. You know, if you're going to, spend your hard-earned dollar, your food money, and you're going to try to double it, and you can blame me, but I think I'm pretty comfortable about these picks. I would say I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable. I could see Toronto losing in Winnipeg. Other than that, and maybe Edmonton comes out on fire, but I'm pretty comfortable with Calgary and the Rough Riders taking those 2 games. So hopefully I'll continue my streak. So now that we did that, we got to get into the picks on. I messed this thing up. This is on the pick'em.cfl.ca game. So the first one I picked Calgary Stampeders on that one. See, there's a whole other step that I didn't realize you need to do. You have to pick this, and then you got to pick the confidence level. I didn't do that. My confidence level is, I would say, let's go 85%. All right, we'll lock it in. Submit my pick. Okay, see, I didn't do that before. I think I did that right. Toronto Argonauts, picking them. Not a lot of picking them. My confidence in that is probably like a 65%. I'll go 7. I'll go 65. I'm not totally convinced, but I'm confident. We'll submit that pick there. Done. Montreal Alouettes, picking them. I'm confident, and I'm going more of like in the 75 range. 75 range. We'll go 70. I'm confident, but not super confident. We'll submit that pick there. And this is a lot of fun. Just stuff to do when when you're doing this. And then finally, I'm picking this game. I'm pretty confident. I'm going 70 on. I'm gonna go 75 on this one. I'm very worried about Hamilton, and there you have my picks. That's the pick'em.ca, CFL.ca. You can be part of that. We have links where you can be part of our group. We're a group on there. Let me see if I can find. Let me look up real quick my group. Yeah, I wear glasses. What's up? I wear glasses. Let's see how I did CFL fans. We got 4, and I did second. Oh, man, we were all really bad. I'm not even going to show that. How did I do with Hamilton Tiger Cats fans? So if you look up CFL News Hub fans and you want to be part of that, you can go to, it's pick'em.cfl.ca if you want to be part of that. And under Hamilton Tiger Cats fans, where did I rank? Well, because I messed up the first picks. Yeah, so I'm not even around. Weekly, I'm not even going to look. All right. So that's it for the picks this week. Let me know what you guys think in the chat room on that. Let's see here. Let's see. What did he say on the? He says, I think you missed the total score. What do you mean I missed the total score? But I like some of your picks. We'll get into the chat room later in the show. All right, let's go now to make some more picks, shall we? Let's hit some fantasy. All right, on to the fantasy picks we're going to go through. Remember, it's fantasy.cfl.ca, and you can join that. It's in the description. You can join us on there, and we're going to give away prizes for the best team. Didn't do that great last week. And then we'll get into DraftKings as well, since they're kind of similar. First, let's see how I did last week. I did not do very well in the CFL News Hub Writers thing. I finished 5th. I got 61 points. Let's see. Is it going to show me last week's? Oh, wait. Weekly. Yeah. Oh, no. Overall, yeah, I got 61 points for the season. Oh, can you show? Here's my week 1 roster. This is not good. Made some mistakes. That's all right. Made some mistakes. So I had Jeremiah Mazzoli, 242 yards, a touchdown. 26. He has 21 points. Shaq Cooper, Johnny Augustine. That was the one I swear I thought I fixed. Didn't. Nick Dominski, which was from Rod Villagomez. That was a good pick. 12 points. Kamar Jordan, he played well. 5 catches, a touchdown, 19 points. Josh Huff didn't do too bad, and I thought Edmonton would be a lot better, and they really didn't do much. So not a very good week for me, but now this is a new week and a new chance. I'm not using any kind of bonus stuff. All right, so first up, we're going quarterback. I am staying away from Jeremiah Mazzoli. Let me know what you think. I mean, do you take a Trevor Harris? I'm going Bo Levi Mitchell, Mike Riley, staying away from him, Zach Collaros. I'm going Bethel. Thompson. Why not? Nick Arbuckle is out. He was great last week. Why not go with him? Maybe Verdon Adams Jr., but I'm going with McLeod, Bethel Thompson as my quarterback. That's my quarterback. Remember that? Andrew Harris, staying away from him. I mean, you have to. I mean, James Wilder was good, but I mean, Bradley Oliveira. Even though I am very high on Toronto's front 7, dude put up points, and he's on the cheap. So you got to take him. You can go higher and pick somebody else. James Wilder had a pretty good week last week. John White. Kadeem Carey. He's okay. I think Calgary will do better against BC, so I might go with Kadeem Carey on that one. Maybe more of kind of a safer pick. On to the wide receivers. And this is what got me last week, and I was listening to you guys. You guys don't know what you're talking about. I was like, people were like, why didn't you pick Brandon Banks? The thing is, you spend so much money on somebody, like a Brandon Banks, and they stink. That's a lot of money you just wasted. So I'm not going to do that. So I'm not going there. I mean, even Brian Burnham is still high. But I might go Kamar Jordan on that one. But I need some low picks. I mean, Ricky Collins Jr. was great, and so was Lucky Whitehead. Can I get I'll take both of those guys. Oh, wait. I'm running out of money. How much money do I have left? Oh, I don't have a lot. Let's go defensive player. Let's take a defense. Just go on some. I'm going Toronto. Let's go with Montreal. Let's go with Montreal. I don't have enough for a player. Let's take Kamar out. We got to go for wide receiver. Just because Montreal, I'm not sure about Edmonton. They could light it up, and they can be wrong. But I like Ricky Collins. Can I get away with Ricky Collins? And then we got another player that we can put in here. Kenny Lawler, I think, did pretty well. And so did Lamar Durant. But I'm going to go with Kenny Lawler on that one. All right, so there's my picks for this week. I'm feeling pretty good about it. What do you guys think in the chat room? I got Bethel Thompson. I got Oliveira. I got Carey, Collins Jr., Whitehead. I mean, these two guys had a good first week. I hope they continue. Lawler played well. And then the Montreal Alouettes. Yeah, Lawler did. What did he do last week? Game log. I mean, 4 catches. He had 2 touchdowns. There you go. What else do you need? So he's definitely getting looks. That is my team there. What do you guys think in the chat room? Let's check in real quick with the chat room. After your confidence in your picks, there's a total score for the games, like the total number of points the teams will score. After your confidence in your picks, there's a total score for the games. Oh, is there more to it? What the heck? All right, let's go back. You're saying there's more to it. All right, my picks. Let's see here. You're saying that there's more to it than what I just did? Let's go social. All right, so I have this pick, right? So I picked the winner, Calgary. My set the confidence. Oh, total points. Oh, I gotcha. You're right. Oh, geez. Now I got to... Man, this is a lot of work. Let me go back to my... I have to go back to my picks. I don't remember what I did. All right, I'll have to fix that later. Thanks for the update. I forgot about the total score. I'll have to fix that later because I don't have it up on my screen. I don't feel like doing the math, but gotcha. All right, thank you. I got you. Thank you very much. Oh. Thank you very much, John Burns, helping me out. Just totally not paying attention to that piece of it. And I'm a software guy too, and I totally screwed that up. On to the fantasy aspect of this fun stuff. We got, I lost money, clearly, because I didn't do very well. But I had, like, Bethel Thompson. I had Carey. He didn't do well. Burnham did good. Banks, I mean, he did okay, but not for that kind of price. Bailey, Tucker, and then the Elks didn't do very good. I mean, terrible. I mean, this was my better one, and I was 1,000 whatever. I had 2 picks in there. I didn't realize that. The number one guy in this league had 141. Bethel Thompson, Wilder, Rogers, Jordan, Walker, Lawler Jr., and then the Rough Riders. That was like basically your top picks. He had that one there. In another game, I had Fajardo. Again, Augustine, I swear I thought I fixed this. Banks did nothing and spent a lot of money. Dimsky, I mean, only 4% had him, and he got 12 points. Ross didn't do much, but he got 9. Not enough. Rogers with 12, and then the Elks, and I was terrible in this one too. And the top guy here, Bethel, Thompson, Wilder, Rogers, Jordan, Walker, Lawler, Rough Riders. That 41 points. Or was that the same game? I think that might have been the same game. So those were my two lineups that I had that were terrible. Now, it is a new day, my friends. It is a new day. I'll tell you what. You guys can help me make my last pick. How about that? We'll let you make my last pick. So first, going quarterback. Like I said, I'm going Bethel Thompson. Why not? Let's play the hot hand. I went Oliveira and Carey. How are they? Carey, I mean, he's down there. And, I mean, Oliveira, you got to take him. Where is he? Oh, wait. Let's see. Hold on. I'm going to put him at running back. Where is he? He's got to be way up on here. Powell. Oh, yeah, he's down here. Definitely. I mean, and he's so cheap, too. That's why. Wide receiver. In this one, I had Collins, Whitehead, and Lawler. I'm not sure I can get all those guys. Let's see. You got Collins, Whitehead. Is Lawler down? Where's Lawler? Where is he? I'm not going with these high-priced guys. And you notice that the winner out there didn't do the high-priced guys either. Just saying. I need somebody on the cheaper end here. Carey. Oh, that's a flex. Oh, now I'm at the flex. Yeah, but you kind of stick with the wide receivers, in my opinion. Just because they seem to get more points. Ackland, Monty Edwards, Durant. He did okay. Cunningham. Here's Lawler. We'll take him. And let's go defense. I'm going to stick with my Argos. I'm sticking with the Argos. Oh, they're on the cheap. Wow, I got $10,000 to spend on a flex. Who am I taking? Chat room. Oh, wrong button. Chat room. Who am I taking? We'll leave. Actually, let's do. I can't see what you're telling me. Let's go here. Who am I taking? All right, let's move this over. And we'll get to the DraftKings board and go back to. Actually, let's do this. All right, so who am I taking? My friends in the chat. Who do we got? Bethel Thompson was a hit and miss in 2019. I mean, do I go Burnham? I mean, that's a pretty good pick. Eric Rogers. I think I'm just going to go Burnham. I got the money. I'm going Burnham it is. And I still have $500 left over. I think this is good. I think I'm going to keep it. And enter. Oh, and the other thing, too, when it comes to doing fantasy stuff, is always play the double ups with like 39 people. Rich says Ackland. Where's Ackland on here? Oh, let me see. What's his price? 7,000. All right. What if we take do we take Lawler out? And let's go. I think we have enough for Ackland. I'll do it. I'll take your word for it, Rich. I'm taking your word for it. If you cost me money, you're in trouble, mister. You're in trouble. All right, we're doing it. We're going with Ackland because he said. And he did look good. If Hamilton can score some points, I'm just worried about that. But anyway, if you do the CFL $5 double up, this is kind of how the real players make their money. Rather than playing these things where, if you have the perfect score out of 3,000 people, you'll win a lot of money. If you're just starting out, the double up's the best thing. So basically, like you put in 5, and if you get better than half of the people, then you get $10. That's how I was able to buy my wife a couple things playing NFL DFS, and I'm going to do the same for CFL now that I kind of got a handle of who's who. But the double ups, when it's at third, and these games go quick, so you got to do them early on in the week. You can always change your lineup, but do these games early on, and you'll be good to go there. So we'll enter that, and that is our lineup for DFS. I'm excited. I'm excited about these games this week. Let's take a little quick break, and then we'll get to your social media stuff right after this. Stay tuned. I think we got everything, the scores and everything. Yeah, we'll be there right after this quick little break. All right, we're back. Yeah, no commercial this time. Let's get to some of your, let's hold on first. Real quick, let's get to your social media stuff from this past week. Some interesting conversations going on. Let's see, move this over here. All right. John says he made his picks. My man, that's what I'm talking about. It's fun. This stuff is fun stuff. All right, now I'm all situated. Don't you guys like live television? On to the comments on the YouTube. Dana, talking about my week 1 score predictions, and I was 1 for 1. I was 2 for 2. The favorites were 0 and 4. Joshua said Saskatchewan won, and said not by the spread. Rich had Hamilton, but they lost. BC, Elks, and Argos. Cindy, week 1 winners, Bombers, Riders, Calgary, and Elks. That's what they had. Some good picks there. We'll do this video again up. This was the CFL week 1 score predictions. I think this week I'll do a lot better. On to the show last week. Theodore says CFL News Hub is the new kid on the block. Maybe call the show The Underdogs or something like that. That is right, Theodore. We are the new kids on the block. Some people don't like us. Some people are coming around, which is nice. We just want to be part of the CFL community and part of the CFL family. We've heard that could take a long time for them people to trust us. That's the way it is. But let me tell you this, Theodore. We're hanging tough. Pow! Hanging tough. We're hanging tough because we're rough. You guys, actually, I'll tell you what. Speaking of new kids on the block, and I admit, especially after this past year with the whatever deal is going on, you know what I'm talking about. I can't say on YouTube. I became a fan of Hallmark Channel. And I'm always admit it because I needed something light and fluffy. I was, watching the news, which if you watch the news every day, or if you're one of these people that leave the news on constantly all the time in the background, just don't do that. Put something else on. Put on there's a dog channel that you can get, then pay $5 a month or something. It's like dog videos that you're supposed to play when your dog, just put that on. Do not put on the news. Don't be one of those people that's just going to make you irritated and cranky and likes to argue, debate guy. So don't do it. I was one of those people. But I switched, man, and Hallmark Channel. And that was my... But not only that, not because I'm a good husband, too. I try to be. But I took my wife 2 times to New Kids on the Block concert. And we had a lot of fun. It was like the mixtape tour, and they had Debbie Gibson and Sugar Ray, Salt and Peppa. Good times, man. I'm going to a concert this weekend. Hopefully don't get you-know-what. But that's this artist I don't even know. And I'm just excited to get out and hang out but it is not New Kids on the Block. Do I have tickets for any other big concerts this year? No. But there are some that I want. I saw a Rush in concert. To my Canadian homies, I saw Rush multiple times. I did see Bare Naked Ladies, but it was out without Stephen Page. And they are not as good without him. Did I see them one other time? I might have saw them live once. But yeah, Rush is my favorite band of all time. I just want to throw that out there. All right, on to more social media stuff about this Week 1 power rankings. Todd is a little upset. He says, excuse me, but the Edmonton Elks lost to the Ottawa Redblacks 16-12 in Week 1. So I would correct that CFL on your power ranking info there. It's a good point. However, Matt brings up a good point that he's just not feeling the Redblacks. I mean, one play and they would have lost. And not a lot of people were picking Ottawa Redblacks to win, but they had 2 defensive players as the player of the week. Come on now. They could be coming. I'll tell you what, Todd. I'll take you and say Todd was right if Ottawa wins again this week. If Ottawa loses this week, then Todd doesn't know what he's talking about. They're playing, right? I think so. I get confused. Who's playing, who's not? Who is out this week? Is it Ottawa? Yeah, it is Ottawa. Ottawa's out this week. So you got another week, week 3, Todd, when Ottawa returns. Man, after a win like that, you'd want to get right back on the field, but the Red Blacks are out. So we'll see. Week 3, we'll see what the deal is. Okay? So you hold on to that. On to some more. I can't wait until we get big enough where I have like a producer that can like run the stream and I can kind of just do my thing and like set all this stuff up. About the recap show, which there'll be another one the Markcast had, Tom, who is very cranky, Tom, says these guys couldn't tell what position John Cornish played without looking it up first. CFL news from 2 guys who just watched their first CFL game. Get some better sources. We're just trying to have fun, Tom. Stop watching the news, Tom. You're probably one of those dudes that watches the news all the time and is all angry. But you're Red Blacks. You got a little Red Blacks deal. Why don't you lighten up? Your team did good. Your team did good, Tom. Anyway, on the picks this week, a lot of people had a lot of fun with this. So we asked you guys on Facebook, who do you think would win? Give a thumbs up for BC Lions, a heart for Saskatchewan. We had, let's see. We had the public. Well, this was close. They had 86 hearts to 82 with Saskatchewan winning. They had that game pretty closely picked. Hamilton, Winnipeg. How was this one picked? Hearts 61. Everybody was picking Hamilton on that one. 72 to 61. Interesting there. On the Toronto-Calgary game, how did the fans do? They 50 for Toronto, 48 Calgary. All right, public did pretty good on that one. And then the Red Blacks versus the Edmonton. Oh, now people were picking out. They had to have been picking. The fans picked there, but whatever. Picked the Red Blacks over Edmonton. No one picked the Red Blacks over Edmonton. Don't you lie. Some more stuff. Tim talking about the Toronto Argonauts. And Mike Mitchell's great recap. He says, gutsy character comeback win. Very cool there. Yeah, I agree with that. We also cover, and this goes back to what we were saying about opportunity. And somebody was all like blown out of shape, watching too much news person. Was like, why are you covering this stuff? You should be only covering the CFL. No, because if the global game and global players is part of the mix that the CFL does, we felt that we should be covering the global leagues as well, and this one is the ELF. So we cover and we give a recap of all the games so you can check out. We actually have some interviews with some ELF players coming up soon. I think Josh Davis is working on. Yeah. Dragons get their second win of the season, 60-51 over the Centurions. So Jeremy says, wait, what? Cool. Yes. Something different. It is cool, and it's fun. On the whole, ESPN Plus, welcome back to CFL. Harvey says, the only downside is if you don't have cable or a paid TV service, games on the main channels are not available on the app, including replays. However, I will watch every game that I can on ESPN Plus. Awesome. Rob says going to watch tonight's games. And then Jay with a bunch of fire. Yes. See, this is the thing. This is what we're doing here at CFL News Hub, is to just try to give another platform for fans to interact with the CFL game. And I think we do it differently. You have the Markcast that comes on after and before the games. You have guys, new writers coming in that we're pulling in from Canada, and thick guys that we've used. They're getting involved with the game. It's gonna be fun to see how things transpire. I really want to see what ratings, when everybody says, oh, after Labor Day in Canada, that's when people really pay attention to the CFL, how that picks up. I would just wish, man, they could just put the Grey Cup on like ABC or something. But when you have ratings like that on ESPN2, they're not going to open the door for that. So maybe through guys like us promoting the game in the United States, that maybe we can get something like that going on. We'll have to find out. We'll see how it goes. But there is a thirst for something other than the NFL, and I love the fast-paced play, like I've said before. On the ratings, Kari says, funny, the lowest rated game, Argo Stamps, was the best. Rob says, TV is where the money is. That's true. Harvey says, in today's world, for those numbers include the stream on ESPN Plus app. The CW network has pretty brutal ratings for some of its shows, but they get renewed. Why? They stream all their shows the next day so people can skip it live. DVR numbers usually add a whole point rating to some shows. If I still had a DVR, I would record the CFL game, skip to commercial, halftime, blah, blah, blah. That's a good point there. Jeff says, that's what I do for watching the Western games. Cool. Thomas says, I enjoyed it. Wonderful to watch. Thanks, ESPN. I agree, too. Sean says, when I lived in California, I was hanging with a chap from St. Louis. It was the first time he ever heard or watched the CFL. I was kind of shocked, too. Cool. See? Bringing in new people, checking out the CFL. That's what we do at CFL News Hub. That is our mission statement. And on the Elks, Sir Vincent Rogers confirms his diagnosis. Very cool that he came out and said, you got to get the jab. Danny says, why the heck did you change a non-offensive name Eskimo? So sad that CFL went woke. Oh, this happens to you guys, too. But Carly says, not offensive to you, maybe. Very offensive to me. So there you go, Danny. Doesn't know what he's talking about. Relax, Danny. Watching too much news. That's what these people do. Stop watching this kind of makes me angry news guy. I was one of them, man. I was watching Fox News before you people ever were. I was all in, Hannity and Combs, all that stuff. And I was a miserable person and just pissed off all the time. And I was like, wow, when you don't watch that stuff, it makes you happy. Finally, we had the attendance numbers. All the attendance were good. CFL NFL 22 says not bad. There were, restrictions with crowd size, ? If there were none, the Stamps, Elks, and Albertians should take notes, stand up for your teams, and any talks like merger, etc. Give your very short legs to stand on. Gives you, all right. And Phil 79 said the COVID restrictions have all been lifted. Dang it, I said the word. The blah restrictions were lifted in Alberta on July 1st. No more restrictions, mass social distance. Since then, it's been up to the person which they wish to do. So there you go. Having some good times there. And finally, we got an email. Get back to there we go. Ted says, hey, Mark, I'm a big fan of the show and glad to see it growing. Thank you very much. Yeah, subscribers are going up. We had great numbers for last week's show as they continue to rise. He said, I was wondering, based on your analytics from your social media accounts, what American state loves the CFL the most? I can't. That's a good question. I will tell you this. I'll have to look that up. Because I don't think, well, I mean, the data that you really want more than anything, maybe I can look it up real quick. I'll look it up for you real quick. I think I can find it on Google Analytics, potentially. But I will tell you this. It was interesting watching the data coming in from the game on CFL News Hub, and it was 50-50. United States versus Canada, as far as people watching it. I'm looking up the reporting now. Let's see. Engagement. I don't know if it's going to show me. Acquisition overview. This is from the last 28 days. Does it tell me? Oh, user acquisition. I'd have to really dig down deep to look at some of this data. I don't like the new, and I'm not like a, yeah, it's not telling me any of that kind of stuff. I'm not like a complainer. Oh, demographics. Here we go. Demographics overview. So this is for our site. I'm not going to show you my data. So Canada, well, this is live. Okay, so users, we had more than double are from Canada. We have Ireland, Germany, and Sweden. Now you want to know states, huh? Can we break it down by, biggest cities were Calgary was number 1, Winnipeg 2, Toronto, Edmonton, Regina, Pineville, and Hamilton were the biggest cities. Can we break down the United States here? Let me, I guess I can view the cities. Let's go. That might tell me a little bit more. It's only going Calgary, Ottawa, Dublin. Dublin, Ireland? Is that for real? I mean, that was one of the big countries. Ottawa, Hamilton was 8. Saskatchewan was 11. Montreal, Mississauga, Forest City, Fort Worth, Texas, Dallas, or Los Angeles, Vancouver, Ashburn, Jacksonville, Altoona were some of the ones. So the first, Dublin, Ireland. I think that's because of our ELF coverage. Saskatoon, Montreal. Hopefully that number will go up. Forest City, Fort Worth. So I think Texas would probably be the biggest. You got California, Virginia, Florida. I don't know some of these. Yeah, Dallas. So I would probably say Texas was the biggest state. But great question. But yeah, I would say double is the Canadian audience. Let's see. Let me get into the chat room for a second. Let's see here. Everybody says it. Kay says Arbuckle is out again. That's what I heard. And also says Rourke sucks. You got to give him a chance. Didn't the coach say like, oh, he's got a future in the league? But they say that about all their quarterbacks, and then next year get rid of him. Rich says I think the Ticats should have replaced Mazzoli with Dane even Evans. After halftime. Didn't you pay Jeremiah Mazzoli a ton of money? Isn't he making like $400,000? You're going to take him out after the first half? I get what you're saying. I think you got to let Mazzoli ride one more game, and if it's a problem this game 2, I'm with you. I'm with you. John says, enjoyed the tailgate party, then went and watched the Stamps lose late. Show the video of Deshaun Amos hustling to prevent a TD against the Argos shades of Don Beebe in the Super Bowl. That's true. Rich says his picks are Stamps, Winnipeg, Elks, Saskatchewan. All right. John says, you mentioned that Toronto beat Calgary. By the way, they did it by 3, and you picked them to win by 2 touchdowns. Maybe Calgary's better than you think. Maybe. True. Let's see. What else? John says ESPN, that is majority owned by ABC's the Walt Disney Company. That's correct. He also says elk season starts Labor Day when they visit the Stampeders at McMahon Stadium. He also says there's a few Dublins in U.S. I've never seen Dublin and show up, so I'm fairly certain, based on the international stuff we bring in from the ELF, that I thought probably will be Dublin, Ireland, which is kind of cool. All right, my friends. Well, we made it through. We're a little late. I appreciate everybody. Make sure you subscribe and smash that like button. Give us some love on the feeds here. Oh, I should probably just check in with our friends on the Facebook real quick. But make sure you subscribe, smash the like, and remember, we have the audio version of this show out there, downloadable every week as well. It'll be coming more to podcast things near you. Oh, Robert says, go Calgary. All right, cool. There you go. Even though I think they'll win this week. So we have all of that for you. If you remember, if you want to be part of the show, email info@CFL News Hub with your MP3s or videos. We got that going on. And we also have my scores this week. And that's it. So that's it. So make sure you check out the Markcast coming up on Thursday. Check your social media stuff, and we'll post it all out there once they get a time going on there. For show notes and everything like that, it's cflnewshub.com/podcast. That gets you the latest episode on that, and be part of the show. As always, we'll have more of those picks so that you guys can be part of it. And make sure you sign up for our fantasy team. It'd be fun. It just makes the game more interesting. And I hope you have fun. Enjoy week 2. And remember, you can find CFL News Hub on every social media platform: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok too. Tell your kids are all on TikTok. I'll tell you that. And we'll see you again, hopefully live at Wednesday at 8 p.m. next week as well. So thanks for listening. Thanks for everybody in the chat room for hanging out. That's it for me, folks, and I will see you all later.